I stood there under the cold Colorado rain, water streaming down my face and soaking through my wool coat, staring at the glowing entrance of Pinnacle Lodge in Aspen. The hand-carved wooden beams and stone facade I had personally overseen gleamed under soft landscape lights, exactly as I had envisioned when I bought the property 3 years earlier. Inside, my family was arriving for my father's birthday celebration, laughing, hugging, unloading designer luggage from their luxury SUVs. They had no idea I owned every suite, every spa treatment room, every ski slope access point they were about to enjoy. I was the uninvited ghost at my own resort. The irony burned deeper than the chill seeping into my bones. At 34, I had built Summit Ridge resorts from nothing but late nights, relentless networking, and a stubborn refusal to quit. My flagship property here in Aspen was the crown jewel, a place where celebrities and executives paid premium rates for privacy and alpine luxury. Yet to my family, I was still the disappointment, the one who chased silly hotel dreams instead of marrying well and fitting the mold they had cast for me. My father, Edward Quinn, 63 and as commanding as ever from his real estate empire, had always ruled our household with expectations carved in stone. Women belonged in supportive roles. He believed hosting dinners, raising children who would carry on the family name with proper marriages and appearances. My mother, Patricia, 61, perfected that image. A social navigator who climbed circles in Denver's elite neighborhoods by hosting flawless charity galas and ensuring our Christmas cards looked picture-perfect. My older sister, Rebecca, 40, embodied their ideal. Married young, to wealth. Now engaged to Marcus Langford, a slick private equity guy with a charm of polished marble and the depth of a puddle. Rebecca never held a real job, but her wardrobe and Instagram feed told a different story of effortless success. My younger brother Tyler, 28, followed suit, bouncing between gigs funded by family allowances, quick to echo Rebecca's complaints about anyone who didn't conform. I had been the outlier since childhood. While they vacationed at beach resorts my father invested in, I begged to explore behind-the-scenes operations, fascinated by how places ran smoothly for guests. College loans paid through waitressing and internships led me to hospitality management. I started small, managing a boutique in outside Boulder, then leveraged every contact and savings to acquire my first property under a corporate veil, Summit Ridge Hospitality Group LLC. My name stayed off public filings to avoid the family scrutiny I knew would come. The exclusion started subtly, like cracks in a foundation. 2 years back, I noticed my absence from the family holiday photo shoot. My mother claimed scheduling conflicts when I asked, but later I saw the perfectly coordinated image on her social media, everyone smiling without me. The colors just worked better this way, she had sighed when I pressed. Small cuts, but they accumulated. Then there was the time Rebecca called in a panic about needing funds for what she described as a family medical crisis. I wired $15,000 without hesitation, only to watch her post luxury vacation photos days later. When I gently inquired about repayment, her response was light and dismissive. It's what family does. Amelia, don't make it weird. Thanksgiving that year brought the first direct blow. Gathered around the heavy oak table inherited from my grandmother, who had quietly believed in my drive, I shared news of securing financing for my second lodge in Park City. My father's bourbon glass paused mid-swirl. Amelia, he said flatly, eyes hard. All that schooling and you're playing innkeeper? Disappointing. Silence swallowed the table. Rebecca smirked into her wine. No one defended me. My mother reached to pat his arm in quiet approval. Those moments built a quiet resolve in me. I documented everything, screenshots of group texts where plans were made without me, bank transfers never repaid, emails dismissing my ambitions as phase. Not for revenge, But to remind myself their view wasn't truth. My success grew quietly. 3 properties now, including Evergreen Retreat in Telluride, plus silent stakes in a regional winery and commercial real estate. Net worth climbing past $5 million. All earned without their knowledge or approval. The breaking point crystallized on a gray February afternoon. Overhearing a phone call from Rebecca to our mother while I visited home unexpectedly. Their voices carried clearly from the kitchen. Dad's birthday next month at that exclusive Aspen place. Pinnacle Lodge. King. Spa. The works. Rebecca's tone was excited. Is Amelia invited? Mom replied without pause. Of course not. She drags the energy down. Besides, she couldn't afford her share anyway. They continued planning, laughing about keeping it intimate family only. I slipped out unseen, pulse racing, the rain starting as I drove away. That night, parked in my Denver apartment, the realization hit fully. They planned to celebrate at my flagship without me. The property I had poured heart into designing, custom fireplaces in every suite, sustainable spa treatments, sourcing local ingredients, staff trained for personalized service. My pride. Their exclusion. The decision formed then. Enough. I wouldn't beg anymore. It was time they saw clearly. But first came the public humiliation that sealed my path. In April, at a retirement gala for one of my father's longtime partners at the opulent Crestmont Ballroom in Chicago, I arrived only because a cousin, the family attorney who knew my holdings confidentially, insisted. Crystal chandeliers sparkled over marble floors. Edward stood to speak, arm around Rebecca and Marcus. He announced trust funds established at our births, praising Rebecca and Tyler for upholding family values and tradition. Then his gaze found me across the room. Unfortunately, not everyone shares those priorities, he continued. I've decided to reallocate Amelia's portion, $150,000 meant as seed money, to her siblings who actually honor the Quinn name. Whispers erupted. That money came from my grandmother's specific bequest, intended for my entrepreneurial path. I had never touched it, building instead on merit. 60 eyes turned to me, expecting breakdown. I finished my drink, smiled politely, and left with dignity intact. In my hotel room later, rain blurring the city lights again, my cousin texted, "That was legally questionable." Fight it? I declined initially. Money wasn't the point. But the call to my mother afterward crushed remaining hope. Please, I said softly. Grandma wanted that for me. Her sigh was theatrical. You're being dramatic. Amelia, you chose your road. Don't expect the same as those who stayed true to us. The line clicked dead. That was the catalyst. The next day, I scheduled a meeting with a top family law firm in Chicago. Documents in hand, trust papers, transfer records, exclusion evidence, I laid it out. The attorney reviewed carefully. You have strong grounds for fraud claims. Emotional distress. What outcome do you seek? Justice and acknowledgement. I told him. Recognition that they were wrong about who I am. Over the following weeks, preparation consumed me in calculated quiet. I met repeatedly with my mentor, Victoria Lang, a seasoned hospitality executive who had guided my early career through tough negotiations and market slumps. Over glasses of crisp Colorado Chardonnay at her mountain home, I confided the plan. She didn't flinch. Sometimes the only path to peace is forcing the mirror, she said. But make sure it's for your freedom, not just their shock. Her words grounded me. I organized every piece of evidence meticulously, timelines of exclusions, financial records showing unpaid loans to Rebecca, emails revealing my parents' contempt for my independence. Staff at Pinnacle Lodge received private briefings to maintain discretion during the upcoming birthday weekend, ensure seamless service, but alert me to any issues. My outfit for the confrontation, a custom emerald gown costing more than Rebecca typically spent on an entire season's wardrobe, tailored to accentuate confidence rather than flash. The trigger event was Rebecca's engagement party announcement via group text. Intimate celebration May 5th at the Grandview Hotel in Denver. Family only, 150 closest. Perfect timing. I confirmed attendance indirectly through hotel management contacts, as a preferred corporate partner. During those 3 weeks, memories surfaced in waves. Childhood scenes where Rebecca received praise for minor achievements while my report cards earned only mild nods. Summers where Tyler tagged along on family trips fully funded, while I worked service jobs to afford community college extras. The isolation wasn't always overt. Sometimes it was the subtle way conversations shifted when I entered a room, or how holiday gifts to me were practical while theirs were lavish experiences. Yet my business flourished in secrecy. Pinnacle Lodge opened to rave reviews for its blend of rustic elegance and modern sustainability, solar-heated pools, locally foraged menus. Staff retention rates envied industry-wide. Crestview in Park City attracted winter elite with private heli-ski access. Evergreen Retreat became a wellness destination. Passive income streams stabilized everything. I never boasted because their narrative required me as the cautionary tale. See what happens when you stray from tradition? The evidence collection wasn't born of bitterness, but survival. Each screenshot reminded me during low moments that their dismissal was projection, not fact. Therapy sessions helped process the grief of losing the family I wished for, replacing it with acceptance of who they truly were. By early May, everything aligned. I reviewed legal documents one final time, cease and desist on the trust interference, plus a civil suit seeking $600,000 in compensatory damages for fraud, defamation through family circles, and severe emotional distress. Service would happen publicly for maximum impact and witnesses. The night of May 5th, Denver's skyline twinkled as luxury cars pulled up to the Grandview Hotel's valet. From my room across the street, I watched guests arrive, business associates, socialites, extended relatives. The ballroom would feature white roses, orchids, Wagyu stations, string quartet ambience worth tens of thousands. At 8:30 p.m., as toasts began, I made my entrance. The room hushed dramatically. Crystal glasses paused mid-clink. The quartet faltered. Patricia's hand flew to her pearl strand, face draining color. "Amelia," she hissed, rushing over. "This is private. You weren't invited." I met her eyes calmly. Actually, the hotel extended a courtesy invitation to key business partners. And I qualify. Rebecca appeared beside her in flowing white designer silk, paling against my vivid emerald. "I made sure you weren't on the list," she snapped. Marcus hovered awkwardly behind. Before they could escalate, I signaled my cousin, the attorney positioned discreetly near AV controls. Lights dimmed slightly. The massive screen behind the head table lit up. "Ladies and gentlemen," I announced, voice steady despite the hammering heart. "A toast to the happy couple seems fitting." Images materialized, sweeping aerials of Pinnacle Lodge's alpine majesty at golden hour, followed by Crestview and Evergreen properties. Then financial summaries showing strong revenues, industry awards for innovation, magazine profiles crediting my vision. "Some know me as the Quinn family outlier," I continued. "What you may not realize is I own Summit Ridge Resorts, including Pinnacle Lodge, where my family plans Dad's birthday next month without extending me an invitation." Gasps rippled. Patricia swayed. Rebecca's mouth worked soundlessly. Edward pushed forward through guests, forcing a smile. "Amelia, honey, perhaps we discuss this privately afterward?" His tone dripped sudden sweetness. So, unlike years of condescension, "We've had enough privacy and secrets in this family," I replied evenly. The screen advanced to evidence, text threads planning events excluding me, mocking my career as playing house manager, discussions reallocating my grandmother's trust money. "This is outrageous," Patricia announced loudly, trying to seize control. She's always been dramatic, attention-seeking. That's why we limit involvement. My cousin stepped forward with documents. "Actually, Patricia, these trust papers prove the reallocation violated the original terms, and records show unauthorized withdrawals last year for what was claimed as medical but funded Rebecca's Paris shopping trip." Murmurs grew louder among relatives. An aunt whispered audibly about suspected unfairness. Marcus approached with a fake grin. "Amelia, clearly miscommunications happened. Maybe investment talks for your resorts." I ignored him, focusing on my family. "I'm not here for payback," I said, though truth was more layered. "I'm here to correct the record. I never needed your validation or funds." I succeeded despite constant undermining. Patricia grabbed my arm, nails digging slightly. "How dare you humiliate us this way? After everything we've sacrificed." Her voice cracked with outrage. I gently removed her hand. "That's exactly it, Mom. You sacrificed my dreams to fit your mold. When I refused, you erased me. But I built my life anyway, stronger, on my own terms." Edward tried negotiation mode. "Ever the deal maker. Let's be adults here. We're blood. Surely we can negotiate something mutually beneficial." I nodded to my cousin, who handed over the formal papers. "This is a cease and desist on further trust interference, plus the filed lawsuit for damages. Consider it served." With witnesses present, the party dissolved rapidly. Guests offered awkward excuses, slipping toward exits. Rebecca's future in-laws clustered tightly, faces tight with reevaluation. Marcus vanished into the lobby on urgent calls. I settled the entire $38,000 bill personally before leaving, telling management it covered the evening's unexpected entertainment value. Driving away through Denver streets, adrenaline still surging, the weight lifted gradually. No tears, just a profound quiet. The confrontation had been meticulously planned, yet executing it felt both liberating and hollow. Their shock validated years of pain, but victory tasted bittersweet. The aftermath unfolded swiftly over weeks. Word spread through Denver and Aspen social circles like wildfire. Edward's real estate associates quietly distanced, questioning his judgment and ethics in family matters. Patricia's gala invitations dried up almost overnight, her carefully cultivated image as matriarch cracked under scrutiny. Rebecca's social media presence, built on sponsored posts and curated perfection, lost thousands of followers as comments questioned the family narrative. Her engagement to Marcus dissolved 3 weeks later when his family deemed the connection too risky for their reputation. Most shocking was the divorce filing on June 1st. Decades of marriage crumbled under combined public embarrassment and resurfaced resentments. Patricia blamed Edward for underestimating my resolve. Edward faulted her for alienating me through favoritism. Neither accepted personal accountability. Tyler, suddenly cut from allowances, secured an entry-level role at a friend's software firm, real responsibility slowly reshaping his entitlement. Extended family reached out unexpectedly. Cousins shared stories of similar exclusions they had witnessed silently. An aunt invited me to her lakeside home in Maine for summer reflection. My cousin and I grew closer, sharing monthly lunches where honesty replaced guarded politeness. Business expanded naturally. Late 2023 brought opening of Cascade Summit in Seattle, a waterfront boutique property emphasizing Pacific Northwest wellness that booked solid from launch. Staff across my resorts expressed quiet pride in my stand, many sharing their own family struggles. In October 2023, at a conference hosted at Crestview Lodge, I met Lucas Harlan, unlike networking sharks circling for deals. Lucas, a thoughtful architect specializing in sustainable design, complemented the intentional flow of guest spaces and asked genuine questions about balancing luxury with environmental responsibility. Conversations flowed from design philosophy to travel mishaps to shared favorite novels over 3 dinners. He admired my achievements without agenda, seeming drawn to my perspective on resilience. 6 months later, watching sunset from Cascade Summit's rooftop terrace, Lucas asked gently why family rarely came up in talks. "It's layered," I replied. He didn't push but created space. Eventually, I shared the full arc, the exclusions, dismissals, public stand. He listened without judgment, then asked simply, "Are you at peace now?" The question pierced cleanly, without the exhausting chase for approval, without clinging to false hope. Yes, I was. Freer than ever. A letter arrived from Edward in February 2024. The handwriting appeared unsteady, words measured. "I was wrong about you. About success. About what family means," he wrote. "You created something extraordinary. I wish I had recognized it sooner." No demand for forgiveness, just truth. I read it twice, folded it into my desk drawer without immediate reply. Healing wounds like ours required time. If healing came at all. Pinnacle Lodge thrives under my direct oversight. My parents have never returned, though no formal ban exists. Rebecca relocated to Arizona post-scandal, taking a retail management position, honest work that dismantled her former social facade entirely. Tyler continues adapting to independence. Our occasional text civil if tentative. Standing sometimes in Pinnacle's grand entrance on rainy evenings. I recall that night I watched them arrive uninvited to my domain. The exclusion they engineered became my catalyst for reclaiming power. Real families aren't solely blood. They're built on mutual respect, encouragement, genuine acceptance. I found those elements with Victoria, my cousin, Lucas. Dedicated resort teams sharing the vision of elevating guest experiences ethically. My empire grew beyond properties to a life defined by authenticity. The sweetest triumph isn't revenge, it's forging peace independently. Yet questions linger in quiet moments. Could earlier honesty have altered paths? Did their inability to see me reflect deeper insecurities? What responsibilities do we hold toward those who wound us unknowingly? Life remains messy. Not everyone evolves. Some bonds dissolve permanently. But choosing self-respect over approval creates space for authentic connections that nourish rather than diminish. The rain outside my window tonight mirrors that pivotal evening. But now it feels cleansing instead of isolating. My story isn't fairy tale resolution. It's ongoing growth through adversity. And in that truth lies quiet strength. Months later, the changes solidified. Lucas and I deepened our bond through shared hikes in Utah's Red Rocks and quiet evenings discussing books at Evergreen Retreat. His steady presence highlighted what healthy support feels like, curious, without judgment, encouraging without expectation. Business milestones continued, partnerships with sustainable suppliers, guest feedback praising personalized service born from my own journey of feeling unseen. Staff promotions reflected loyalty earned through transparency and fair leadership, contrasting sharply with family dynamics I escaped. Occasional family echoes surfaced, a distant relative mentioning Rebecca's struggles adjusting to independence, or Tyler texting about a work success. Responses stayed measured, boundaries firm. Forgiveness isn't owed, but earned through consistent change, which remained absent. The moral weight persists. How far does loyalty extend when respect is withheld? When does protecting oneself become necessary severance? My experience suggests family definitions evolve, blood alone insufficient without reciprocity. Many carry similar hidden pains, building empires or quiet lives despite dismissal. On clear aspen mornings at Pinnacle, Mist rising from peaks I helped preserve, gratitude surfaces for the path forged. The uninvited night, once painful symbol, now represents turning point towards self-defined success and chosen family. What remains is an open question for anyone listening. In pursuing approval from those who diminish you, what parts of yourself do you sacrifice? And when you finally choose your own light, who truly stands beside you in the warmth? The story doesn't end with neat bows, but with hard-won peace. A reminder that real strength often blooms from rejection soil.